Hey guys, welcome to CPM 3. This is your Module 1 review. You got a test coming up. As you can see, there's not a lot of room on these papers to kind of do your work and show your work, so this is going to kind of get all melted together, but just kind of bear with me. So let's jump in. Number 1, we're simplifying the expression. So when it says to simplify, that means pretty much combine like terms. We can't solve anything here. So, before we can combine, we need to distribute. So, 5 times x gives me negative 5x. Negative 5 times 7 gives me a negative 35. Go to the 7, do the same thing. 7 times 3x gives me a positive 21x. 7 times a negative 4 is a negative 28. So, after we distribute, now combine your like terms. So, start with your first one. We got a negative 5x and keep that sign in front. And we need to combine that with this other x, which is a positive 21x. So negative 5 plus 21 gives me 16x. Then combined your numbers out here, your constants. So negative 35 minus 28 is going to give me a negative 63. So that is my final answer. There's nothing to solve, and I can't combine those because those are now unlike terms. All right, on number 2, we're deciding which order pairs the solution to the equation. We're going to write yes and no. So, on A, that means we have, this is your x and your y. So, we've got negative 7 in place of my y equals 2 times x, which my x is negative 1, minus 9. So solve. We get negative 7 equals 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Bring down your minus 9. So we've got 7 equals negative 2 minus 9 gives me negative 11. Those are not equal. So this first one here is a no. Okay, I'm going to have to... I'm going to have to back this up because I'm not going to have room. So pause this video if you need to copy that down. Okay, so this first one was a no. Do the same thing for B. This is my x, this is my y. So when I have y equals, we'll put in negative 11. 2 times my x is negative 1. And then minus 9. So we get negative 11 equals 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Bring down your minus 9. So we get negative 11 equals negative 11. So this one is a true statement. So this one is a yes. So same thing, I'm going to have to back this up. So pause this video if you need to write that down. So we had a yes here. And then lastly, here's my x and my y. So I've got y equals, my y is negative 9. Negative 9 equals 2 times x, my x is 0. And then minus 9. Well, 0 times anything is 0, so that just kind of goes away right there. So we get negative 9 equals negative 9. That is a true statement. So this last one is also a yes. Number 3, we need to find the Celsius temperature when a Fahrenheit temperature is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So, on your test, you're going to be given this formula here. F equals 5 over 9c plus 32. Now, a lot of times you guys hate this fraction right here. So if you put in your calculator 9 divided by 5, we get 1.8. So we can rewrite this formula as F equals 1.8C plus 32. So now that my F is 59, okay, my F is 59. Plug that in for this F here. So we have 59 equals 1.8C plus 32. So solve it for C. So we're going to subtract our 32 over. We get 27. So 27 equals 1.8C. Divide your 1.8 over. And let me get out a calculator. All right, 27 divided by 1.8, we get 15. So I don't care if you do C equals 15 like this, or you can also tell me 15 degrees Celsius. Either of those work. Number 4. Sarah and Jamie are selling Girl Scout cookies. Sarah sold X boxes of cookies, and Jamie has sold twice as many boxes as Sarah. Together, they have sold 426. How many boxes has each girl sold? So we've got 2 characters here. We've got Sarah and we have Jamie. Specifically tells me that Sarah has sold X boxes. And then Jamie has sold twice as many. So since Jamie has sold twice as many, that's 2X. So set up an equation and solve. I know together they have sold 426, so we've got Sarah's plus Jamie's equals my total amount. So solve. X plus 2X gives me 3X. Divide by 3. And we get X equals 142. So, how many has each girl sold? Now we need to plug this back in. So, Sarah's is pretty easy, right? Sarah's is 142. But then Jamie's is twice this. So, if we do 142 times 2, we get 284. So, Jamie has sold 284. In general, word problems require word answers. So we need to say, Sarah sold 142 boxes. And Jamie little dyslexia right there. And Jamie sold 284. Number 5, we need to solve for y. So, when I solve for y, I need to get this y right here all by itself. So, means I need to move this whole thing over here first and then get rid of this 4. So to move this whole term over here, the opposite of a positive 5x is a negative 1, so we're going to subtract it over. So I get negative 4y equals, these are not like terms, so set them side by side. So we get 24 minus 5x. My last step is to divide. Now be careful with this step. When I divide the right side, and that's a really bad color, sorry guys. When I divide one side by negative 4, what are we going to divide by negative 4 on the right side? That's sort of a trick question. We're dividing both of them. Okay, not just one, not just the other, but both. So my 4's cancel here. So I'm left with y equals, reduce. 24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. And I can't really do any reducing here as far as 5 over 4 goes. But negative over negative does turn to positive. So I can make this a plus 5 over 4x. And just so you guys know, this would be the exact same answer if you switch it. You just got to watch the signs when you switch it. Notice that 5 over 4 is positive, so 5 over 4 is positive. We have a negative 6 and a negative 6. So if you switch anything, you just got to make sure that those signs are the same. Now we need to solve equations. So on 6, to get x by itself, we're going to add this 7 over. So I get 5x equals 25. I'm going to just bring that right here. So divide both sides by 5. And we get x equals 5. Okay, on 7. On 7, you have this little negative that is neutral. You do need to pick where it's going to go. It can go either at the top and make that a negative 4, or it can go down at the bottom and make that a negative 3. It doesn't matter where it goes, but it makes it easier if you just pick for it to go either at the top or at the bottom. So I'm going to scribble this one out here, and I'm going to put this over here with a negative 3. Okay, but again, you can make that a negative 4. Okay, so a lot of people get stuck on this one because of this side, of course, being a fraction. Don't let that fraction stump you. What does this bar right here represent? That's just division. The opposite of dividing something is to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by a negative 3. Don't also let this confuse you. When you multiply this side by negative 3, my negative 3's cancel, so I'm not multiplying anything on the top by negative 3. The top of this just simply comes down because it cancels with the one on the bottom. It's gone. So now it equals, now you do need to multiply the other side by negative 3 since it's not canceling with anything. So 2x times negative 3 is a negative 6x. So now continue to solve. So let's distribute. So we get 4x plus 40 equals negative 6x. So you want to get your variable on one side, your number on the other. Well, we already have our number over here. So if I have my number over here, let's get our variable over here. So we need to move that 4x to the other side. So to get it over here, opposite of positive 4x is a negative 4x. So we get 40 equals negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. divide by both sides by -10, and we get x equals -4. Okay, and then number 8. Number 8, we need to distribute first. So I get 8x minus 56 equals 5x plus 3 times x and 3 times 1. Combine your like terms. We have nothing to combine on this side, but on this side I can combine my x's. So 5x plus 3x gives me 8x. Okay, now you can technically stop right here, but if you need to keep going, get your x on one side. So when I subtract x from both sides, 8x minus 8x cancels, 8x minus 8x cancels. So we're left with -56 equals a -3. That is not a true statement. So because my x is canceled out and what I have left is not true, this answer here is no solution. There is not a number I can plug into x to make this equation true. Nine, determine the x and y intercepts, then graph the line. 7x minus 2y equals 14 on the grid below. Write the intercepts as an ordered pair. So, first, to find the x-intercept, we let y be 0. So it means I have 7x minus 2 times my y is going to be 0, equals 14. I just plugged in 0 into this equation here and put in a 0 for y. So, 0 times anything is gone. So I have 7x equals 14. Divide by 7. And we get x equals 2. Now because I want this as an ordered pair, my x is 2. And what did I put in for y? I put in 0. And so we can plot that. Along my x-axis, we're going to go along 1, 2. And so here's my point. Do the same thing for your y, but now opposite. Again, into this equation, now I'm putting in a 0 for x. So we've got 7 times 0 minus 2y equals equals 14. Again, 0 times anything is 0, so that goes away. So I'm left with negative 2y equals 14. Divide both sides by negative 2. And we get y equals negative 7. So ordered pair, that means in place of y, we're putting in a negative 7. What did we put in for x? 0. So now along the y-axis, we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so here's your line. Number 10, we need to solve the inequality. So, it says first solve it, then graph it, then write it in interval notation. So we got 3 parts on this problem. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. We got negative 7x plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 11. So solve just like it's an equation. We're going to add our 3 over. So we got negative 7x is greater than or equal to negative 14. Divide both sides by negative 7. Now, because we have divided both sides by a negative number here, you have to take this symbol here and switch it. So instead of this being greater than or equal to, it is now switching to be less than or equal to. And then just divide this like normal. So negative 14 divided by negative 7 is 2. So that is solving. Okay. So only additional rule is when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you do have to flip that symbol. So now let's graph this. So 2 is where my solution is. So I'm going to put that in the middle. Then I'm going to go 2 to the left and 2 to the right. So now when I graph, use this as an arrow. It's pointing this way. So we are going that way. And because it has that line under it, it's a bracket. So there is my graph. And now write this in interval notation. So it always goes from left to right. So the smallest number this graph's going to touch, well, because this is continuously going this way forever and ever and ever, that is negative infinity. And infinity always gets a parentheses, okay, whether it's positive or negative. And then what's the highest number it's going to? Well, it's got 0, it's got 1, it's got 2, but oh, it does not touch 3. So it goes to 2, and then if this has a bracket, then this also has a bracket. Okay, so let's get some more practice with writing that in interval notation. Describe the solution set of the following graphs of inequality using interval notation. So it's pointing to the negative infinity side, so we're going to start with a parenthesis, negative infinity, and it's going all the way to 4 with a bracket, so this will be 4, negative 4 with a bracket. Okay, this one starts at negative 2 with a parenthesis, so negative 2 parenthesis, but then this one's pointing to the infinity sign, and infinity again always gets parenthesis. And so just so you guys are aware, anytime you have a negative infinity, it's always going to come first. If you ever have a positive infinity, it's always going to come second, every single time. And then last one, it starts here at negative 4. It's got a parenthesis, so we give it a parenthesis 2. And it ends at 5, and it has a parenthesis, so we'll give it a parenthesis as well. All right, so that is all for this review technically, but you are going to have more problems. You're going to have more problems in your review to kind of help you with your test questions. So these are going to be test questions you are going to see. So we have a couple extra that we have put in there. So the first one we added, number 12, we've got some word problems. It says a 25-foot string is cut into 2 pieces so that the larger piece is 4 feet. Is 4 feet longer than twice the shorter piece. Find the lengths of both pieces. So here is my string. and it's cut into our two pieces. My short piece, I don't know anything about, right? It says the longer piece, blah, 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 than the shorter piece. I don't know anything about that short piece. So your short piece is x. So then how do you represent that the longer piece, this one here, is 4 feet longer than twice? Now, because this is a plus, it really doesn't matter what order you do this in. But if it's 4 feet longer, that plus 4 technically goes over here. It's 4 feet longer than twice the shorter piece. So I need 2 of my x's. So it's 2x plus 4. If you do this as 4 plus 2x, because of this plus sign here, this will work out. So, find the length of both sides, or both pieces. So, together they add up to 25 feet, so I'm going to add these together. So we've got the short piece plus the long piece, and that needs to equal the whole thing of 25 feet. So solve. X plus 2x is 3x. Subtract your 4 over. And then divide by 3. So we got x is 7. Now, I don't really care what x equals. I need to find the length of both pieces. So plug it in. My short piece here is nice and easy. My short piece is 7, but 7 what? 7 feet. 7 feet. You need units here. And then my long piece, plug in your 7 to this x. So we have 2 times 7 plus 4. So my long piece then, 2 times 4 is 14, plus 4 is 18. So 18 feet. Okay, and these are really easy to check. Is 18 plus 7 25? Yes, it is. Okay, so we know we did her right. Now, word problems require word solutions, so we need to sort of write out things. The short piece is 7 feet, and the long piece is 18 feet. Okay, and that's our real final answer. Let's try another word problem. The sum of the speeds of two trains is 723.6 miles per hour. If the speed of the first train is 5 times faster than the speed of the second train, find the speeds of each. You've got to be careful on these, because a lot of times when you guys read something like it's just 5 times faster, you guys will just do something like 5x equals 723.6, the combined speed. But this is only representing that first train. You're not even including that second train. So that's why I highly recommend you guys start listing these out. We've got the first train and the second train. Which one of these trains do we know nothing about? Well, I know the first train is 5 times faster than something, but we don't know anything about that second train. So my second train is x. So then to represent that first train is 5 times faster, we're going to take 5x. So if this is 10, this is 50. If this is 100, this is 500. Whatever this number is, this one is going to be times 5. So now set up your equation. So the first train plus the second train equals their combined speed. That's why it's so important to list so we can get that second train in there. So now we have 6x equals 723.6. Divide by your 6. And we get a number. We get x to be 106. So that means my second train is 100. I think I said 106, but it's 120.6. We are in units of miles per hour. So then to get the first trains, we need to do 5 times 120.6 to get a 603. That one comes out evenly. Word problems need word answers. So the first train is going 603 miles per hour, and the second train is going 120.6 miles per hour. So that's your final answer. 14, we're evaluating. Evaluate means get to a single number. So, plug in your information. We have A. What does my A equal? My A equals -7. Minus 3B. So minus 3 times my B is 3. Plus 4C. So plus 4, and then my C is 2. Now, you can evaluate this. This is very easy to do by hand, or you can just put this whole thing in your calculator. Putting it all in your calculator, make sure you don't put any errors in, or you don't make a mistake with those minuses. And do you add, do you subtract, what do you do? You do have to make sure you put it in the calculator correctly, but you won't make any errors. You can do this by hand though. We're going to get -7 minus 9 plus 8. -9 or -7 minus 9 gives me -16, and -16 plus 8 is going to give me -8. Okay, notice we weren't done here. We weren't done here, and I was not done here because none of those got me to a single number answer. You gotta keep going till you get to one number. 15. Since 2003, emissions at the movie theaters have been declining. The number of people, Y in billions, who go to the movie theaters each year can be estimated by the equation right here, where X represents the number of years since 2003. Complete the ordered pair. So we've got Y equals -0.025. This is my X. And let me rewind a little bit, guys. I'm going to put this in a different color. Okay. So we're putting this in this equation. So 6 is my x. We are trying to figure out what is my y. So we've got y equals negative 0.025 x plus 1.5. My x is this 6. So y equals negative 0.025 times 6 plus 1.8. Same thing as right here. You've got everything on one side of the equation. Put all of this in your calculator. Just like it looks. So, negative 0.025 times 6 plus 1.8. We get y equals 1.7. So that's what goes here. So, what does this mean? My x is 6. X represents not only the number of years, but the number of years since 2003. So don't just tell me in 6 years, because again, in 6 years from when? In 6 years from 2000, from today, from the future. In 6 years tells me no information. So, if it is since 2003, and my x is 6, we've got 203 plus 6. We are now in 2009. So in 2009, what happens? What does this y represent? Y is the number of people in billions. So 1.7 billion people are what? Going to the movies. All right, guys, and last page. Solve the equation. Because you guys have calculators that deal with fractions, you can put this on your calculator without having to do anything. But what this is looking for you to do is get rid of this fraction. And you do that by finding the LCD. So you take these numbers here and figure out what is the least common denominator. So with 9, list out a couple of your multiples. So 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 2 or times 3 is 27. List out a couple of your multiples with 3. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 9. Well, look, we already have one. So I don't need to keep going. We've got 9 here and a 9 here. So that's the smallest number that both of these can multiply to be. So what that means now is I need to multiply not just these two terms with fractions, but all three terms by my LCD. Okay, so this first one here, we've got 9 times 2 over 9 x. My 9's here cancel. And so now I'm just left with a 2x. So I'm going to rewrite this over here without any fractions. We've got 2x minus what? So now let's go to this 1/3. We're going to do 9 times 1/3. Cross reduce. You can divide 9 and 3 by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So now when we multiply straight across, I've got 3 times 1. That gives me 3. So minus 3 equals, don't forget to multiply this by 9 as well. So 1 times 9 is 9. I have taken this equation now, my original one, and rewrote it where it does not have any fractions. That's the whole point of that LCD. So now solve. So we're going to add our 3 over. So I got 2x equals 12. Divide by 2. And we get x is 6. Okay, and again, you can do this in your calculator without even needing to do all of this and all of this, since your calculator does fractions. 17, substitute the given value into the given formula and solve for the unknown variable. So we have this I equals PRT. What is happening on between this P, this R, and this T? Those are all being multiplied. So when we plug this in, we've got 608,000 equals my P, I don't know. So P times my R, here's my R, times my T, which my T is 5. So you can do this 2 different ways. You can divide these individually over, or you can divide once and multiply first. And that's what I'm going to do. So multiply these together. So I'm going to get 608,000 equals 0.038 times 5 is 0.19. So I get 0.19 P. Okay, since that's being multiplied, so now that's 0.19 times P. And now we just need to divide once. So I'm going to get P equals 3,200,000. All right, and then lastly, 18. The sum of, using x as the unknown number, write the statement below as an equation. So, the sum of twice a number and 5, so this side right here, looks like, let's see, the sum of twice a number and 5. Twice a number is 2x, the sum means plus and 5, okay, is equal to the sum of a number and 2. So x plus 2. So that's all you have to do in part A. Part B, now we need to solve this. So, to solve, let's get x on the same side. So we'll subtract that over. Now that x is on the same side, now let's get our number on the same side. So we get x is -3. And then lastly on C, you need to check it. Check it by putting it in the original equation and seeing if this side equals this side. So I've got 2x, my x is -3. So 2 times -3 plus 5 equals x plus 2, so negative 3 plus 2. So evaluate. They're going to multiply first over here, so we get negative 6 plus 5. Negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1. Now, you can stop right here. If you know negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1, and say, yep, those work. Or if you want to take it one more step and say negative 1 equals negative 1. Okay, but that's what checking your answer means. And you are going to have one question like this where it asks you to check your answer. And if you do not check, you will not get full credit. All right, that's all I got for this lesson. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Pause and rewind this video as you need to.